Hello, Life Science class. This is our 20B notes. We're going to be talking about the circulatory system. And remember, we're talking about internal balance or homeostasis, what our body does to be able to keep a sense of balance and everything working properly the way it should. The first slide here is about the blood. Our body contains about 4 to 5 liters, which is about the same thing as 4 to 5 quarts. We have red blood cells, white blood cells, and plasma that make up that blood. And each of those has a separate job to do, and we'll talk about what those jobs are. So as far as the red blood cells, another name for red blood cells is erythrocytes. They're where the hemoglobin is. The hemoglobin is what binds the oxygen in our blood to be able to carry it where it needs to go. It lacks a nucleus, so the erythrocytes don't have nuclei like our other cells do. They become oxygenated when they bind oxygen to the hemoglobin. The oxygen's going to pass through our body. It goes out of our cells into our body parts, and we are going to get recharged back to the oxygenated phase when our blood comes back to the lungs. Leukocytes is another name for white blood cells. They do not contain hemoglobin, and they're larger than red blood cells. They do have a nuclei, and they're capable of moving on their own. 2 jobs for white blood cells. Number 1, destroy bacteria and other foreign matter. They produce antibodies that are going to help our immune system. Antibodies are chemicals that are produced by the leukocytes, and they attack any invading pathogens. White blood cells are formed in the bone marrow, and some of them are going to develop elsewhere, but for the most part what we need to know is they tend to be formed in the bone marrow. They have a short lifespan, usually about 1 to 12 days. There are more of them that are produced when an infection is somewhere in our body. There are also platelets in our blood, and these are very small cell fragments. They help with our blood clotting. They have a weirdly irregular shape. They're not round like the white blood cells or red blood cells. Platelets also have no nuclei, and they also have a short lifespan. When we say that blood clots, how the clots form is that inside of our blood vessels, we need to keep our blood from going out and being lost from our body. So if we should get a cut or a wound, we want to stop that blood from leaving. A blood clot is important. However, if a blood clot travels through our blood vessels, they can be harmful and cause a heart attack or a stroke. Our blood plasma is about 90% water and about 10% of other substances, or in other words, food waste minerals from our dissolved food, hormones that our body might carry throughout it. They're the substance that's going to regulate our blood. That's pretty much the highlight of our chapter 20B notes. Thanks. Bye.